And now we're at a stage where we are saying what makes the customer tick. How are you going to make sure that you win that customer? Or you've got the best chances, maybe 80% chances of winning each customer that you approach, right? So that's what today is about. And in order to answer this, we speak about what we call the WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. So we say this is a station that everyone on earth is listening to. Whenever whoever you see, we are all listening to the same station, which is what is in it for me. Whether we're on Facebook, whether we are listening to radio or whatever, we're forever looking for what is in it for us, you know? So it means that you, as a business person, you have to speak from that premise. So whatever it is that you're trying to introduce, it has to come from the premise of what's in it for the client, right? So you must always start your communication from that perspective, right? So what we're going to show you today is how to collect information for a web client based on this idea that you're trying to answer what is in it for the client. So in this case, we're not talking about your client, we're talking about your client's client, because the reason why your client wants a website is because they need clients, they want clients. So the only way that you're going to help them is if you're able to think about what is in it for their clients, right? And you frame the website of your client in that sense, right? So, so today is really about content gathering. How do you gather content so that you've got everything you need to create the website, right? And we're going to follow a framework called See, Think, Do, Care, right? And this framework is based on the way that we process information as human beings. So as human beings, we first see something, and once we see that thing, it makes us think and ask questions and so on. And once our questions are answered satisfactorily, we're ready to take the action, right? And before though we take that set action, we kind of want to know what's going to happen after we take that action. So if I'm thinking about buying something and then you show me a picture of this thing that I might be interested in and I get interested, I'm going to have questions. How much is it? How do I get it? And how does it work? What are the benefits? How is it going to help me? All those types of questions. And if you can answer those questions, then I will take the action. But me taking the action is dependent on also what I think is going to happen after I take that action. How are you going to support me? Are you not just going to disappear with my money? How am I going to make sure that I'm getting value out of what I'm buying from you? So this is how we think as human beings. And this is the same framework that you're going to need to use in order to collect information that is going to be useful in making your client's customers take the action that your client is looking for. So we're going to break it down quickly into saying what do you want when you go into your client's socials and whatever, and you're researching about that client. You need to start to say, what would this client want their customers to see, right? So this means you have to collect images that you think are relevant to selling the client's products or works or services, whatever. So as you're scanning through their accounts and whatever, you need to select. So basically, you create a file. This is the STDC file, See, Think, Do, Care file. So you create a file a folder, which is Think, Do, Care folder, and within that folder, you want to create other folders, that is the C folder, the Think folder, the Do folder, the Care folder. So within the C folder, for example, you would make sure that for that particular client, you are collecting all the images that you think are relevant to the business, all the videos that you can find, any presentations that you can find, any diagrams that you can find, any symbols that you can find. So this is what is visual that you can find about this business from the client's socials, whatever information that you can get. So you need to collect all that stuff, put them into your C file, right? Then once you're done with that, you need to say, once the client sees what what my customer is trying to sell, what questions are going to come up into their minds, right? So firstly, what is this thing that I'm saying? So they've seen the picture, maybe on your client's WhatsApp status, or even online or wherever. So the question is, even on the website, then once they see it, what is it? How are you going to describe what this thing is, right? And once you've figured that out, what's unique about it? Why this and not that? You have to figure out it. So this is information you need to be skimming through your client's accounts and organizing in this fashion. So what is the unique selling proposition of this particular client? So they might not even know their unique selling proposition. So you kind of need to figure it out to say, okay, this is what I see to be different about how this client works, or how this client does their business. And you need to be able to say, what are the benefits of this client's products, or this client's solution, services, and so on. You need to list those, as many as you can find, right? So the client might not even have all the benefits of their product on their socials and so on. So you need to fill in where you don't have all the information, but you understand what you're trying to create, and what are the features of the products, right? And what is the process, right? The process means what's going to happen after the client deposits their money, all right? Or in fact, let's not say after they deposit their money, after they inquire and say, I'm interested, what are the steps that happen? So this is particularly important for a service business that is not selling a product that I can see. So what you now need to do is to maybe have a diagram of the process to say, this is step one, right? Step 2, step 3, step 4. So this is step 1, from you inquiring all the way to you getting out with your problem solved, right? So what happens between now and then? So you need to figure out those steps, right? For the customer, and be able to answer to that. FAQs, this is what we call objection handling. So if you've been running your business, you kind of know what kind of questions people usually ask. But this might be your client's business if you don't know exactly, but you should be able to figure out what are people asking, even on Facebook, wherever, on this client's account. What are the questions that are coming up, and how can you devise answers to those questions, right? So this is objection handling. You're asking yourself the hard questions that your clients might not even want to ask sometimes, and you're answering them so that your clients are not left doubting, because a confused client does not buy, right? So that's what FAQ is about. But one of the most important things that you can have is, are there any testimonials? Can you see, you can even screenshot a message that is written by someone on WhatsApp or on Facebook saying, thank you, this product helped me, or whatever. You need that stuff. So you need to collect your testimonials. And is there any particular impact, positive impact, that this business is having in the society, in the community, and so on and so forth? That information needs to be collected. And finally, what are the credentials? Does the client have any credentials, or does the business have any accreditations? All the stuff that someone might be worried about when they're thinking on whether or not to use the product. So that's what the Think file is about. So you should have the folder Think and try to get as much of this information into that folder. And then the third folder that you're going to have is the Do folder. So the Do folder is the call to action folder. It's actually about understanding when this client of mine is posting on Facebook, what is he asking people to do, right? What is the action that they need people to take? So someone might want people to inquire. Someone might want people to set an appointment with them if maybe their product needs a little bit more explaining. Someone might want people to watch a certain video that explains the product or whatever. Someone might want people to join a webinar or an explainer sort of presentation, whatever. So you kind of need to understand what are the call to actions that are relevant to this person. What do they want their clients to do, so that you can capture whatever information is going to allow them to do. For example, if you want them to call, if they want people to call, then you should have the phone number in this folder, that this is the phone number that you're supposed to call. If they want people to email, you should have the email in this folder. They want people to inquire, you should already know that maybe on my website, I'm going to have an inquiries form, right, for this. Or they want people to buy now, and the products are there. Maybe this person is selling real products. Then you can think about having an online catalog for this person, so that people can buy their products online, right? So this is what the Do folder is about. What is the action that you want the clients to take? And finally, the last folder that you're going to have is the Care folder. So you're asking yourself here is that, what you're asking yourself here is that, what does this client do to take care of their customers, right? This is after they buy from them. What sort of care is available, or what sort of care is generally expected in the industry that the client is in? Because you might not be able to find that information from the client, but you must be able to maybe look at other websites of the same type of client and say, what kind of after sales care or what kind of care, ongoing care, do customers in the industry expect? So this could be after sales care. This could be, what is your guarantee? If this thing doesn't work, can I get my money back? What is the warranty? How long does this thing get fixed if it's broken without costing the customer, and so on? What is there any service plan that you've got in place for the project, for this project? Is there any social media pages that a customer can go to and ask questions and get help and so on and so forth, or so that they don't feel like the person is just going to disappear with their money, you know? What can your client do to ease the fears of your customer, maybe thinking that maybe they're gonna run away with the money, or maybe they're not gonna get support once they're paid, and so on and so forth? So you collect any sort of information that is to do with support, guarantees, warranties, service plans, social media support, newsletter. Maybe if there's some newsletter the person is supposed to join in order to learn how the product works. Online support. What sort of online support? Maybe there's a WhatsApp chat on their website that you can use, and so on and so forth. Or maybe there's a live chat or whatever. So, or maybe there's a ticketing system where you can send a ticket to get help, you know. So this is where in this file you add all that information. So only once you've got all that information, are you then in a position to say, okay, I can now sort of make this website, right? Because I've got all this stuff, because the whole reason why you're making the website is to help the customer, is to help your client connect to their customer. And by using this framework, you are collecting the information with the customer in mind at every step. So it means that you'll be able to create a website that's going to allow your client to connect the customer at the end. So that's basically what this is about. So what I've done is I've created the folder, a folder that I'm going to share with everyone, so that you guys can just use that folder. It already has the folders inside, See Think Do Care folders, and basically that's what you're going to use for each client. So you're supposed to have that folder for each client. So even after you've created it, and then when you start to speak to them directly, now maybe you've shown them the website, they're interested. When you start to speak to them directly, you're still interviewing them about certain things that you may not have found from the information you're collecting, right? And so yeah, and you're also I'm sure that's for the file, right? Yeah, cool. So so when you're interviewing the customer, you're still trying to find what other information was missing maybe from this file that I still wanted to get from the customer, or what other information did I fill in that the client doesn't know about. I need to then discuss that and make sure the client will be happy with that information and so on. So that's what the concept is. So from here, if you're clear with this See Think Do Care way of collecting information, the next perhaps thing that I would advise, or that the next step anyway that we're going into, is really understanding what is e-commerce, right? Because you might not just be making pure business websites, but you might be making online stores for some clients who want to sell online, right? Especially services, digital services, or maybe even physical products they might want to sell online. So what we're trying to do now is just to introduce you to e-commerce. What is it, and how does it apply to business, as it were? So for us to get a better understanding, we have to first understand what happens in a business, right? For business to happen, what happens, right? So the first thing for business to happen is that information must be exchanged, right? So there's a flow of information between the seller and the customer. So the customer might be wanting to know, how much is this, and does it have a warranty, does it have a guarantee, whatever the point may be. So the customer has some questions, and the seller must answer those questions before the customer is willing to say, okay, fine. Now we go into the flow, the second type of flow, which is the flow of money between the customer and the seller, because now the customer is satisfied and now they are ready. They've got all the information they need to make a purchasing decision, and then they make that decision, and then money has to exchange hands, right? And lastly, if they have paid for the products, they then must get the products. So the customer takes the product and they go away with it. Maybe they're going to put it in their car, whatever the point may be. So this is how business works every day. This is what it takes to oh, I didn't see that you've got a question there. All right, this is wonderful. You're going to get very far with online stores here because it's quite simple. All right, cool. So yeah, so these are the flows that are happening. So if you are bringing e-commerce, so this is commerce or business. So if you're bringing e-commerce, you're saying, how can we use the internet to enable these steps, right? So that's what e-commerce is. So this is what we mean by that. Okay, why is it not? Yes, this is what I mean. So step number one, the e-commerce can help in all the three stages of all these three flows. So for example, in the information stage, instead of the customer having to wait until I open my shop the next day to come and ask how much does my shoe cost or whatever and so on, I could have a website that they can access even if it's at 1 a.m. and I'm sleeping. and it can give them all this information that they need in order to make a purchasing decision, right? So that's the first way that you can use a website, which is now an e-commerce website. But in fact, if we're talking about just the information side only, I would not say that's an e-commerce website yet, right? So if the only flow that you're helping is the information, it might not be the e-commerce website. Maybe I just want to get a quote and I can put in some information and then you guys can send me a quote and so on, right? So so that is the first type of flow of information. But I want to say that it becomes an e-commerce website once there is the other two elements. That is, the website allows you to exchange money. That is, it allows you to transact online now. So this is now, if I can actually not just look at the catalog online and then have to inquire, but I now can actually put in my card and pay for the product, right? And say, deliver the product at such and such a place, right? And if your website now is also going to help you to do that, then it now becomes an e-commerce website, or what we call an online store. And finally, that will also have to help with capturing the delivery information and making sure that the client pays for delivery if you're charging for delivery. So if your website also facilitates the delivery of the goods, such that the customer is just going to get the goods delivered to them at their door and they don't have to go to the shop to go get the goods, then that is what an e-commerce website does. That is how the e-commerce, that's how e-commerce enables business, right? So this is, I just want to give you that overall idea and understanding of what e-commerce is and how does it enable the normal business that we know, right? So I'll just quickly look at the top so you can do a quick comparison again. This is okay. So this is what we had, right? Someone had to come to the shop and ask how much is the tire, and someone had to come and pay at the store, and they had to go with their products to fetch their products from the store and take them wherever. And this is how e-commerce changes that situation, that I can shop before I even leave my house, before I step out of my bed, and I can pay at the same time, and I can get the goods at my doorstep without leaving my house again. So that's basically how e-commerce enables business.